It's countries that have tremendous terror, and it's countries that people are going to come in and cause us tremendous problems. Our country has enough problems without allowing people to come in who, in many cases or in some cases, are looking to do tremendous destruction. We are excluding certain countries, but for other countries, we're going to have extreme vetting.
President Trump discussing plans for an executive order on refugees and immigration. And White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer says that order could come tomorrow. And the New York Times obtained a draft of the plan, which includes suspending the U.S. refugee admissions program for 120 days and indefinitely blocking refugees from Syria and capping the total number of refugees admitted to the United States this year to 50,000. Also being considered in order to ban visitors from Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen for 30 days. Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii serves on the House Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committee. She also served 2 tours of duty in the Middle East with the Hawaii Army National Guard and currently serves as a major in the Army National Guard. She very recently came back from a trip to Syria where she met with President Bashar al-Assad of Syria. Nice to see you, Congresswoman.
Great to see you, Greta. Aloha.
Okay, aloha. Yes, indeed. All right. Why did you go to Syria?
I've been very worried and have carried with a heavy heart what has been happening there, the suffering of the Syrian people. And I wanted to go there for myself to see if I could, in some small way, convey the love, the care, and the aloha of the people of Hawaii, the people of our country, to the Syrian people, and see for myself the situation on the ground there.
Well, I know there's no doubt, since you've done 2 tours in Iraq in our military, I know you're deeply committed to this. You and I have even spoken off camera about this. You saw President Assad. You met with him. What did you learn?
Oh, first of all, this wasn't the reason for my trip, wasn't even in the initial plan, but when the opportunity presented itself, I felt that it was important to have the meeting, because if we profess to truly care about the Syrian people, if we truly care about ending their suffering, we've got to be able to be willing to meet with whoever we need to if there is a possibility and a chance that that can help us take steps forward towards peace.
And look at that video. Those kids are adorable, aren't they?
They're beautiful. And the thing is about these kids that we met in this shelter just on the outskirts of Aleppo is they and their families have lost virtually everything, but the strength and the joy that they had was incredible. They have hope for the first time in a long time for their future.
All right, now you have a different view of what the foreign policy should be of the United States than many of your colleagues, even Senator Sean McCain. What is your position on what we should be doing or not doing in Syria?
Well, I've been long calling now for years to end our country's counterproductive regime change war in Syria. Not only is it not helping end the suffering of the Syrian people, but it is actually working against the interests of the United States. It is working to strengthen groups like ISIS and al-Qaeda, making their position stronger. And we're doing that with American taxpayer dollars. Our dollars are going to help support, fund, and arm groups who are working alongside and allied with al-Qaeda in Syria, something that if you or I provided support to a terrorist group like that, we would be thrown in jail.
You know, it hasn't escaped me, you know, I've talked about this. You've got Egypt with Mubarak, and you've got Libya with Gaddafi, and Iraq with Saddam Hussein. Is that, you know, all those 3 are gone, and those 3 nations are in utter chaos. And I know, and look, I'm a good American. I want to do what the right thing is. But you know, now we have this situation where at least President Obama said, you know, that Assad would go. He hasn't gone. Are you saying that we should be just get out of there? Is that your view? Or
what I'm saying is that it is important for our country to stop spending trillions of dollars on these regime change wars for a few reasons. First of all, every dollar that we spend on these interventionist regime change wars is a dollar that we're not spending on investing in rebuilding our infrastructure and investing in our communities and our future.
What about those people? What about chemical weapons? Well, I mean, at least I read about chemical weapons.
This is the second point, that this is the major point, that these regime change wars have been carried out under the guise of a humanitarian cause, but in every single situation that you just talked about, the people in these countries have resulted in far worse suffering than before, far greater loss of life. Their countries have essentially fallen apart, and to our interest, groups like al-Qaeda and ISIS have simply grown stronger. So not only has this regime change war policy that our country has followed for too long ended up in disaster, chaos and suffering for the people in these countries, but it has also worked directly against the interest of the American people and our security.
And you're getting a lot of pushback from a lot of your colleagues on Capitol Hill.
From some. You know, I introduced a bill, the Stop Arming Terrorists Act. It's a bipartisan bill already that has Democrat and Republican support that seeks to put an end to this policy, this crazy policy that allows our taxpayer dollars to be used to directly and indirectly support these groups that are working with Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and other terrorist groups.
Well, you know, this is, you know, such an important dialogue we should all be having, maybe more than how many people are at the inauguration crowd. But, you know,
I would say so. Seriously.
I know.
Every day that this war is allowed to continue, more and more people are suffering. We've got to take action now.
I wish more and more people could, even in the media and in members, just, you know, go take a look at it, because you learn so much more. And I'm not telling you what you should think after, but it's incredible. I've been over there. But anyway, Congresswoman, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Greta.